Mikel, first of all, have you recovered from Sunday?
Yes, fully recovered, yeah.
Did it take a while?
Well, it took like a normal game. Obviously, it was a very emotional game at the end, but they all are in different ways probably that the game we played on Sunday. But yeah, looking forward to tomorrow.
You say they all are. Some don't hit quite the emotional highs of that. When you strip that emotion back, how do you assess that game? It's very hard with everything that went on.
Yeah, well, I already did after the game, you know, and we already moved on, and we are now ready to battle again on tomorrow.
You're ready to move on. I think lots of us have still sort of soaked up what went on, and we've seen extra footage of Ireland and you at the end. We've seen Ireland and Jesus at the end. Does that tell you kind of how much that game meant to not just Arsenal and City, but to everybody? That rivalry is fascinating, that you maybe got under their skins, that we all loved the head-to-heads and the niggle and the battle?
I don't know, it's part of football, part of a sport, and after the game, all that goes away and we move on. That's it.
Just maybe two more on it before I do move on. Were you surprised by the reaction that people gave us on the way you played that game? Because one of the biggest criticisms you've had against you is that you haven't been streetwise. And there you were, putting on a masterclass and doing everything to win a game. There was no self-centre. You were right at it, and you did whatever it would take to get that point.
Yeah, we had to play the game that we had to play, and the first 10-15 minutes we couldn't, 11 against 11, then we go much better, and then obviously we're thrown in a very different context. Every team does, you know. They played 30 seconds with 10 men. You look what they did, it's normal what they did for 30 seconds, but we had to do it in a different way. We learned from the past as well, because unfortunately we've been in that situation with them 3 times very recently. One it was with Granite after 38 minutes it was, and we conceded how many? So yeah, we better learn. If not, we will be very thick. I will be very thick.
The red card as well, have you reflected on that and what you said about it afterwards, and perhaps does the threshold for a second yellow maybe need to be higher?
Well, I reflected post-match, and it's the same reflection today.
So that's still very cross about it and want consistency?
It's the same answer that I give. I think it's move on. I was very clear about it, I think.
Okay. 3 huge games in a week, physically and mentally. When you sit here now, how proud are you of what you've gone and done, some of the circumstances thrown at you?
Extremely proud. I think the team, the desire that they have to compete in any context, to win, to adapt to different circumstances, different competition, different way of playing, and handle that emotionally and physically the way we've done, is superb. Happy, not because we wanted to win the 3 games, but understanding how tough that context is and how difficult it is, and the things that we had to deal with, and not only that, but our own issues as well with the amount of players that we had out. I think it's a significant improvement, and we have to be proud of that, but not happy because we want to win.
Just finally, what is the body count like? I mean, we clearly saw quite a few of your players go down. How many of those sort of are struggling a little bit with injuries? What does your squad look like? Did it give you a chance to see the likes of Sterling, some of your youngsters tomorrow?
I always prefer the facts than words or supposing things. So let's see who is available tomorrow, and then we can talk about dark arts or these things. Or if it's a reality. Yeah, it won't be.
There will be?
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, yes.
Pardon?
Unfortunately, yes, there will be a few players that are not available. Yeah. Tomorrow you will find it as soon as I give the lineup.
Okay. No serious injuries picked up on Sunday?
We have to wait one of them. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Hi Mikel, how are you?
Very good, you?
Yeah, very good. In terms of your players, two of the last 3 games, you've had players sent off in the Premier League, kicking the ball away. Do you had to remind your players that that is a new rule?
For passing the ball, you mean?
Passing the ball away, kicking the ball away?
Yeah.
Have you had to remind them not to do it in future?
I think so. Just leave the ball, don't touch the ball. We play without the ball.
Having said that though, the League Cup, when you were at Man City, they always took the League Cup seriously. Pep always wanted to win it because it led to something bigger, or it seemed to be something bigger. Is that the mentality you're bringing to Arsenal?
Yes, for sure. We want to win the game tomorrow. We have to start with the first game, you know, and we have to understand what's the best team, the strongest team that we can put out there to perform in the way that we need to be better than Bolton and beat them.
You mentioned the strongest team you can, because quite often we see Premier League managers make 10 or 11 changes to either give players a rest or give other players a game. Would you do that? Would you make 10 or 11 changes?
No, at the moment we cannot, because we don't have another 10 players available.
You've got a big squad. You could probably find 10 players.
Mm-hmm.
How many youngsters are we going to see there tomorrow? Because this is always a good opportunity to see younger players. I remember in the past we've seen the likes of Alex Iwobi, Emil Smith-Rowe, people like that make their debuts in these sort of competitions.
It's a great opportunity for any player to show what they are doing in the games. I didn't have the ability to play matches yet, to transform what they're doing in training, to give us the right reason and perform on the pitch. Two
players who we may not see tomorrow, Gabriel and Saliba. I remember speaking to you about 3 years ago when Saliba was away on loan, and we were saying how much you were saying how much you wanted to keep him, how much of a good player he's going to be for Arsenal. Can you believe what those two have developed into as a partnership? Because they're probably among the top centre-half partnerships now in English football. No, the reality is no, because you have to see that developing day by day, and obviously we believe that that they could become really good. That togetherness, that chemistry is something unique. It's something that they build. And there is something that happened very organically as well, and very proud to have them. The level that they are showing is incredible. And finally, Raheem Sterling, you've already been asked about him. I'm not going to ask you whether he's going to start or not tomorrow, but this would be a good opportunity to get more minutes for Arsenal. What has he been like since he's arrived here? And have you been impressed with him even more than when you saw him before at City? Yes, very good. Obviously, he had a few minutes already, so he's played in a few games already, and tomorrow he has another opportunity. He's ready. He's really hungry to start to have more minutes and start to impact the team in the way that he can, and hopefully tomorrow we can see that.
Stephen? Mikel, it's the first of 4 home games in a row tomorrow after lots of travelling lately. Sell-out crowd as well. What does that tell you about the connection that you've got with the supporters at the moment?
Great to know that night games are very special at the Emirates. We start to make any occasion special. I think the team is going to benefit massively for that. So I think we're going to give the importance that I want to give them, we want to give them to the competition. And that's the first part of it, to create an atmosphere that makes it really good for our players, really difficult for the opponent.
Mikel, we saw the footage of David Raya leaving the Etihad, sort of bandage on his knee. Is he one of the players who's a doubt tomorrow? Would it concern you that you might have to play a 16-year-old in Jack Porter and goal?
But let's see how they are today, and I will try to make a call on that if we believe that that's a possibility.
And it seems like this team, as much as they want to play good, attractive football when they need to, like they did on Sunday, they actually quite enjoy the fight, the scrap, the battle. Have you noticed that shift in that they have that sort of different face now, that when they need to, they can dig in like that?
Yeah, it's not something that we notice, something that we have to install on them, because without that, you cannot play with that level of concentration, focus and discipline for that long, thrown out in that context. If you don't love it, somehow you have to love it. If not, you start to miss beats and spaces, and the puzzle starts to break, and then you get bigly punished.
Just last thing, we talk a lot about your influences in football. I just wonder, you played in that Premier League era where Mourinho came in, a brilliant, dominant Chelsea team, incredibly pragmatic. Is he someone who actually influenced you, Mourinho, in that style of play? Do you see any of that in the way you manage now?
More than influence, I think you learn a lot from all the top coaches, and you just try to understand why they've been successful, what they have is what really touches that team, that makes it really special, very consistent, especially to win at this level. And And especially in this, at this level, and with the amount of games that we are playing, you might have an idea and you think the game can go in that direction, but if it goes in a different direction, do you have the ability to adapt and be happy now playing that game? Because that's the level that we are in.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
I was just wanting to ask, sorry, my voice is, sorry. I was just wanting to ask about Ethan and Miles, because for both of them, very big moments to come into, and I was just wondering, not just as players, but as young men, both 17 years old, how do you feel they coped with those moments, and could you get a sense of what those moments were like for them?
I'm very proud of them because they are dealing with a situation probably earlier than expected, and they have given the chance to play in each of the most historic and more difficult probably grounds in the Premier League, and they both responded really well.
And obviously both were on tour. I spoke to Mehmet Ali, the under-21's head coach, earlier in the season. He said when they came back, they almost conducted themselves more like first-team players. Is that something you noticed as well when you came back from the States?
Sorry, in what sense?
So just how they carried themselves around the training ground and stuff like that. They were a bit more, almost senior in the way they carried themselves, if that makes sense.
Yes, well, what I've seen is that they have ended up in a really positive way, you know, to influence others, to raise the standards, and as well, because they are responsible for that, they have to carry others now as well, you know. But again, their attitude has been superb. It's not easy when you have spent 5-6 weeks with the first team and then you have to start to play at a different level, but this is where they are at the moment, and they're going to have more chances because they have conducted themselves in the right way and in that sense as well, and I think that's a really important thing.
Hi, Mikel. It's
Hi.
obviously a different competition tomorrow. You've been at the club for nearly 5 years now and won the FA Cup in 2020, but since then there hasn't been any trophies despite all the fantastic progress you've made with the team. Do you think this season you do have to start winning trophies for it to be considered a success, or do you not think of it in those terms?
Well, in terms of trophies, the success, only if you win it, that's it. Success, how you measure success or how you associate that word to, I think probably we can have a much more deeper conversation. But we are here to win, and we are here to win the big competitions and the ones that even not considered that big. That's our duty.
And I just want to ask as well about Zinchenko. We've not seen him since the international break. How serious is that injury? Because he's been out for a while now. Is there any chance of him returning anytime soon?
I think he will be out still for a few weeks, unfortunately. Yeah.
And another one on Ethan. I just want to get a bit of insight into sort of what kind of character he is in your dealings with him. Is he the kind of guy who's coming to you and asking for more advice? Is he sort of knocking on your door? Or is he saying, can you be clipped? Can you sort of tell me how to improve on certain things? Or is he a bit more still, you know, as the young guy?
No, those two really pushy, really demanding. They want everything. They want to see everything. They want more and more information. They love it. You can tell them. They are so passionate about it. They see the opportunity. They want to grab it with both hands. They are great to work with.
Thanks.
Mikel, do you have a time frame yet on Martin Odegaard?
No, I think it will be a matter of weeks. But how long exactly, I cannot tell you.
So you've got 4 games, I think, before the international break. You're not expecting it back before.
We might get a surprise, but I think it's unlikely.
And earlier, you mentioned dark arts when you were talking to Gail. Obviously, that's been an accusation to the level that you and your team in the last 48 hours. Is that fair? Do you think that label is fair?
I don't know. It's opinions and that's it. But as I mentioned before, I think other things will be factors. But that's it. Whoever says what he says, often is not going to retrieve his words, but we will use the facts.
What are the other factors?
Sorry?
What are the other facts you're talking about? The other factors?
Well, if a player is fainting something, you don't know, then that means that he will carry on and he will be involved in the squad and he will play.
Because when you came in, was it a particular target of yours to make the squad tougher and more streetwise? Because historically, that was always a criticism of Arsenal, wasn't it? Back then, when you were a player and during Arsenal's last few years, that the team wasn't strong enough and lacked leadership. Was that a particular target of yours when you came in as manager to change?
Well, I think all the managers is you want a team that is happy and able to compete in any context that is being thrown, and this is what we want to achieve as a team.
Okay.
We'll now move on to 10:30 tonight.